Welcome to Season 5, Week 4 VDL Power Rankings with Sakimoto24 and Goomer22. Goomer, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I got a nice uh, spinach and fruit smoothie here. I feel like I need a little recharge this week. Um,
Oh man,
yeah, yeah.
I've got um, still something fruity, but it's a little bit of a twist. I've got a blackberry moonshine mixed with some ginger ale.
Ooh.
Um, although I thought the it was like really good when I initially tried the blackberry moonshine. But maybe that was just because I had already had some moonshine that day. Um, but it tastes a little bit more like medicine now, so I don't I don't know. Uh,
Hey, either way, it's probably a treat. That's nice.
yeah,
Um, I think I'm gonna have to. Well, we'll hop into it. I think I'm gonna have to switch up my drinks when I play. But yeah, let's hop into it. Let's get into the games this week and the kill leaders. So, kill leaders moving back up there. It looks like the Sussex Stabilize there. Feeney moved up there. Feeney had a pretty good week. Um, it's just above Moltres and Doug Trio and Pre Marina all tied in second. So, yeah, Feeney putting in work. I don't think we're too surprised that Feeney's putting in work, but the Stabilizers are using it really well. And yeah, and anything else about
yeah.
the kill leaders?
I don't even think the Moltres got any kills this week, and then Pre
No,
Marina
it
I think
didn't.
only got one. I don't know if Doug Trio got any, but
No, I don't think it did.
yeah. So there was some opportunity for somebody to jump up there and stabilize. They've had a lot of 3 game sets, so lots of opportunities for this to get kills.
Yep, I like that it's a tight race, even 4 games in. I mean, as the games go on, usually a few Pokemon get separated from the pack, but it seems pretty close. And
Yeah.
I think there's some other mons right behind as well that we can't see.
Right.
Um, but no,
I'm honestly not too surprised to see the Finny or the Primarina up there. I'm a little surprised to see the Doug Trio and the Moltres though. I would not have put those in my top 10 list if you told me to guess the kill
yeah,
leaders at the
no,
beginning of the season.
yeah,
No
no,
chance.
no, but they're just being utilized really well. So, and they're on good teams. But yeah, it's exciting. So, we don't have any runaway crustals this season yet, but still some. It's a tight race and it's fun. So, if we hop into the games, my prediction came true. Dilfu takes it 2-1 over the
You
crushing Sylvales.
you were the only one, correct?
I was the
Who guessed that?
only I was the only one with the crystal ball. I just had a feeling. I had a
Wow.
big feeling. I was going down the predictions. I was like, I know. I just know this is. I don't know how I knew, but yeah, Dilfu takes it 2-1. I didn't actually see this game, so I was so hyped about my prediction, and I didn't even see the game in the
Well,
report.
you know what? Sylvalis, they lost the footage and they lost, so a double whammy there. That's horrible.
Ah, it's
But
unfortunate. I like watching these games.
yeah, but they did say that I was talking with some a little bit, and they said that Ilfu brought, I believe it was Scarf Ice Beam Mesprit as a Landorus counter,
Okay.
and which I think is nice because I think from the past couple of weeks that Dilfu seems to be have been using some similar sets, that Life Orb Tornadus, knockoff Mesprit, which
Mm-hmm.
wasn't allowed, but it happened to squeak through a couple weeks. Um, but it seems like Dilfu might be utilizing some other sets now, which is nice to see. Could be a little bit more threatening player now, and um, yeah, and so I think this was probably an interesting matchup. One more thing about the Sylvales. I know I think last week is when they beat the Terrors. They smoked them with that triple intimidate. But Ilfu's team, the Registeel, the Mesprit, the Celesteela, Tornadus, those don't really care about intimidate. So I wonder if that might have been a tougher matchup for the Silvalis. Like I was saying, like if teams aren't weak to intimidate, it's not it's not going to be as good because those abilities are just useless then. Um, Apparently, I think the Silvalis said they might have misclicked game three or something like that, and it cost them the game. I'm not sure exactly what the misclick was or whatnot, but you know what? Regardless, Ilfu got the win. So
Ilfut got
first
the
win of the
win.
season. Props to them. Yeah.
Yep, the not Dynamaxing actually turned out to be better for him. So they got the
It's true.
they got it's a big win, and they're probably looking for another win next week to try to climb the ranks here. Next game.
No, they're not. They're looking to just
Yeah, they're looking to
take
lose.
another loss.
They're trying hard to tank it. So
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know. I think they're facing the Bashers, so I
I
mean,
think they're so it should be easy win for Dilfu, honestly.
yeah.
So next game was my match with the Waterloo Warriors. One of the closest matches overall. Like every game was close, and the entire match was close.
Yeah.
Like it just came to the wire every game. Every play was stressful. Every moment was a chance to gain momentum or sacrifice it all. I don't think either of us played perfectly, honestly. I know I missed a couple of opportunities. Because the Warriors team is so hyper offensive, it's like so threatening, and it's really hard to prep for in that regard. Because if you're not prepared for something or some type of lead, he'll just run away with the game easily. But then again, my team's kind of versatile, so it's awkward to prep for. So, I think where I went wrong was I didn't set up Trick Room or Tailwind. I don't think any game. So there was a couple opportunities where I could have done that, and then I know. So the crit was unfortunate game one for me, but I think there's also a couple of other reads or things that Warriors could have done game one to kind of seal it away. I think they had kind of control of the game most of the time. So I think they played well. I don't think it was just a win solely on a lucky crit. I think he just played well, and that sometimes that happens. Like I'm getting beaten up while I'm trying to coil and recover and hypnosis and finally attack you, and there's just chances to get crit. So it happens.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's sort of a weakness to it, the strategy, but what are you gonna
right.
say?
I was gonna say some people, they might see some game like that and they say, well, it was a lucky crit at the end. But the thing about those stall strategies, which I've utilized this season as well, and in this Series 10 non-Dynamax format, they're definitely more viable. But every turn you let them attack you, even if you are recovering health or something like that, it's just one more chance to crit, and they only have a 5% crit chance, but over time, if you let them take 5 or 6 hits, now it's become a 25-30% chance that they'll get that crit, and so run those stally strategies aren't always you know they're not as safe as they seem, I guess. Because you think, oh, crit 5% chance on any given, hit. But if you're getting hit 10 times and hoping that none of them crit, that's not as great as a chance. So just got to be wary of those. But that was unfortunate. I will say that the physical toxicity was an interesting bring from the Warriors.
I was just about to say so, because when I think he switched it in when I did it in Struck Snarl with. And so I got 2 snarls off. I thought I was feeling really good because I got 2 snarls immediately on the toxicity, broke the sash, which I didn't know I had at the time. But then it was physical, and then when it shift geared, I mean, that was just a really nice bring, and it threw me off guard, and it pretty much put him in great position game one. And that was really nice. Probably my favorite bring from the Warriors was that physical toxicity. Yeah, and he did really well playing her. I figured he would be expecting the wide guard, but I knew I had to bring it just in case. And he played around it really well. I don't think he used a single spread move the whole game or whole match. So
he might not have. Yeah.
Well,
what I want to. I want to ask is So when I was watching the game during the premiere, and you kind of called out that after you Aromatisse, and you're like, oh, he's definitely got after you. And I didn't even know Aromatisse got after you. Did you? Did you know that from prep, or did you always know that
I,
Aromatisse
I
had after you?
I I knew it after you. I've used aromatisse in the past, and I knew that was something it got. And it threw me off guard for a
I
second.
was,
Luckily, it wasn't too crucial.
yeah. I mean,
But
I was so surprised. I was like, really? I was like, one, I didn't even know where Aromatisse had after you. I was like, really? Like, is he calling this right now? And then, yeah, and then you did, and so that was really, that was just really impressive. But another cool tech from the Warriors there.
another cool tech goes after you. Mons are scary because you think I took down their Trick Room Sweeper, Scavalier, and then I think, okay, now I have speed control because the rest of his Pokemon are fast. But that after you kind of makes things spicy. Um, but yeah, a really close match. Like one of the most intense, if probably honestly the closest overall match I think I've had. Like it's just such a close match. And all the games were so close. So um, really well
Yeah,
done, and props to the Warriors. So the next match, let's talk about the Bashers.
yeah. It was. I faced the Conway Embors, a nice scary team. I honestly didn't know if they would even bring the Rillaboom because I have a good amount of answers for it. Mainly Entei, who can't be faked out by Rillaboom and just one shot it with a Sacred Fire. Um, but they did bring it, and I did expect a Defiant Tornadus, which I never got to find out if it had it, but it did have Acrobatics, which makes me think that it was Defiant since it was physical. But regardless, really intense match for game one. So he brings out the Halucha Gudra, which was not a lead I was expecting, and so I was kind of confused what he might do, um, and definitely was expecting physical or special Gudra, with maybe like Sludge Bomb or something to deal with the Sylveon. But I saw the coaching come out, and I was like, oh my goodness. Um, I didn't even think about physical Gudra and physical Gudra with AV, and I believe it was AV and coaching. You get that defense boost, which Gudra doesn't have the best defense, but then it just becomes so bulky. Oh my goodness! I remember I hit it with I think Grassy Train was up, and I hit it with a flash cannon from Stunfisk, and it didn't even do enough to like get past Grassy Train healing. It was just like it wasn't taking anything. That's when I knew it was AV. I was like, oh my goodness. But uh, but luckily I was able to play around it with some Yawns and Credilli, getting some clutch ancient power boosts to boost my defenses, and uh, just I basically got into a 1v1 situation with the Gudra, and I actually um, so I got two ancient power boosts in seven of my hits, and then my only attacking move was ancient power, and so I was able to kill it with my last ancient power, thankfully. And that was one oversight in my prep too. I thought Credilli would be able to win with in the end game, and if it had some stockpiles and Leech Seed stall, but I totally forgot about Sap Sipper Gudra. Um,
It was a nice bring.
yeah,
It
you
was
can't
really
Leech Seed
nice.
it. It was so
I
smart, so smart.
I was watching the game and I was thinking, oh my gosh, with this annoying Stunfisk yawning and like the Credilli just boosted up with Leech Seed, there's like you're in such good position, and then the moment I realized that it might have been Sap Sipper, like it
Yeah.
completely shifted the kind of the
The
position on the.
momentum, yeah.
Yeah, it shifted like the advantage. It was
And
like, oh my gosh, without that Leech Seed, like this Gudra is so bulky and has attack boost, like it doesn't look good. But the yawns were super annoying, and I think the ancient power. I don't know if you win that game if you don't get those ancient power boosts. I don't think you do, honestly.
yeah, I mean,
It
I
would have
think
been close.
potentially with one boost I could have done it,
Yeah.
but yeah, the two boosts pretty much kind of sealed it for me, and that was really nice. And I got a couple long sleeps in the from the yawns, so that helped a lot. And I actually got a cute charm, infatuation during that game, which was clutch. Because when I made my Sylveon set, I was like, I don't know if I need Hyper Voice. I can really just go Moonblast. So I didn't have any normal moves. It's like, why not use Q Charm? If he hits me with a physical move, whether it's a Grassy Glide or something with Halucha or whoever, then I have a 50-50 shot of, well, 50-50 shot that they're the opposite gender, and then a 30% chance of Q Charm. And it just so happened to work out, and he was actually immobilized by Love one turn. So, like, those little things that, like, sometimes it might not seem like a big difference, can really come in clutch. Just those little tweaks. So that was huge. And then yeah, I actually when I leech seeded the Gudra, like obviously it wasn't optimal if I assumed it was Sap Sipper, which I did, but I I kind of just wrote that game off because I didn't think I could win, and so I was like, oh, I'll just use this for information because if I don't leech seed it and it's not Sap Sipper, that would be a huge waste. So I just had to find out if it was, and but then the Ancient Power Boost saved me, and I didn't even really consider that. I was like, okay, I have an out here, so that was lucky. And then um, game two, I think I played well. I think one thing in my game two match that I think I did well was the utilizing turns where I kind of predicted a double protect. Um, so I led the Entei Frostlass, and he led Halucha Tornadus. And turn one, I just set up a Sunny Day because I don't know why, but I kind of just predicted him to protect to kind of scout out what I was doing with Frostlass. So I just set up a Sunny Day with Entei. And then later in the game, I figured he was going to protect with Halucha, so I set up a Wish with Sylveon, which helped out. And sadly, we disconnected. I really don't know what happened. He said his internet was still connected. My internet was still connected. So, not really sure why it disconnected. That was really weird. But it was based on the positioning, and I guess the Emboar is meant to switch out the Rillaboom rather than attack. So they kind of misclicked, and they were in kind of bad position there at the end. So they just said that they were fine with giving me the win, which I don't feel great about. But based on the positioning, I do think I was in a pretty big advantage at that point, especially with Hitmontop in the back. But I thought they had really cool prep, and like I don't think like although it was a 2-0, that those games, especially based on the prep, were a lot closer than it might seem. Like the Emboars, I still think are a really strong team.
I would agree. I think game one, you were able to stall him out, and that Gudra was ferocious. And then game two, you just called. Honestly, just was able to play around the protects really well and make the right calls. Honestly, like perfect, like pretty much perfect calls. So,
Yeah.
well done. So
Thank you. Thank you.
So the Bashers moved to 3-1. I think, right? You're 3-1.
Yes. Yes.
So our next game, there was a score to this, right? Or no?
No, no, they haven't played yet. I guess they were gonna play on Sunday, but it got delayed, and um, yeah, I'm not sure how long it'll be postponed. But I'm guessing it will be played eventually, but it definitely hasn't been played yet.
Right on. Well, this next game I did not watch, but I wish I did because I liked both these teams. The McChesney Park
I don't think Taco.
Slowpokes. What's that?
I don't think Taco posted it. Taco hasn't posted his
Oh,
match
he
yet.
hasn't?
I don't think.
Okay,
No,
gotcha. Well, I guess
just
we'll
a
have
battle
to,
report.
we'll have to check it out
Well,
once it's posted.
yes. Hopefully, it sounded like a good game, especially because one of them ended with like a game ending. Like both of their mons died, but one of them just died faster, I guess, or maybe one died to life orb. I don't know, or hail. It sounded really intense, basically. Um, I did check out the battle report, um, and I will say that the slowpokes might hate me for saying it, but every time this Gigas Coughing comes out, I think it's lost. um, they brought the Gigas
Just
Coughing both
bad
games.
luck, maybe.
Well, I think what might be part of the reason why we keep seeing it is there might be matches where Coughing kind of looks good in the matchup in terms of just neutralizing their abilities. And so, like, if you're gonna bring Coughing, why not bring the Gigas? I guess might be the thought. Um, so obviously Mantans have like a sun mode and stuff like that, and so like maybe just neutralizing that with coughing was the idea, and then going in with Gigas. But I don't know. It seems like every time this Gigas coughing comes out, it has not won. And on top of that, the slowpokes it looked like they brought the ice mode game two, but Taco has a Torkoal, so the ice mode just doesn't really seem optimal there. I think it would be understanding if one of them was ice water, but like you have Ninetales which is very nice. Both weak to fire, and then you have Arctozolt, which you know electric is neutral, but it's weak to fire as well. And so I don't think Torkoal got any kills necessarily, but it just didn't seem like an optimal bring from the Slowpokes, in my opinion. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait to see the game, but uh, Taco able to pick up the 2-0 there.
Taco again. I feel like he has a really strong team, and
I think this is one of his best
but
teams in this league for sure.
I would agree. It's very scary. Um, Next game features one of easily the scariest teams. Those Dawn Rebellion. Lucian's out here just continuing to smoke some boots. He's just smoking everybody. So, um,
He's he's got the he's got the fire pit going,
he's,
all night. He's
yeah,
just
he's smoking
smoking those
all
boots.
those boots. It's just a leather. It's a mushroom cloud of leather smoke. Um, he takes a 2-0 over the Tokyo Terrors. Just a very offensive game, if I can remember correctly. Like, he just kind
Yeah,
of took off running. I forget who he led in the first game.
he led he led Kangaskhan,
Oh, that's right.
and
Kangaskhan put in absolute work. The,
I think he led the. Did he lead the Porygon Z, or was that game
no, that was
two?
game two.
Um,
Like game one, he led
he lead
Kangaskhan.
Machoke. I think he led Machoke,
No, I think
didn't
he
he?
switched in Machoke both games. Um,
Did he lead?
I
Well,
think
yeah, you're right. He
I
switched
think
to
he
Machoke.
did. I forget who he led. But
Who
that
led Klefki, maybe?
the Kangaskhan was just vicious.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like there's like very little switch-ins to it. Um, it just it was ferocious. It gets that fake out. The fake out was doing so much on the Hitmonlee. He was doing like
Hmm.
40% on the Hitmonlee. And then the last resorts are they're just so powerful. And um, I mean, you just kind of have to take that thing down, and it's hard because at first turn it just fakes out. It's just so strong. And that two to like that's one of those sets where like your opponent could literally message you and be like, "Hey, I'm bringing fake out last resort Kangaskhan to the matchup," and there's still nothing.
Yeah.
There's still like
Yeah.
it's still ferocious. You can't prep that much for it. So
Well,
I
the
mean, you
item
can, but
matters a lot, I think, on that set, though. Because this against me, he brought. I think he's just making good calls. Against me, he brought Lumberry. I burned it with a Sacred Fire. Lumberry took it apart, and then I still
yeah,
had to
that's
worry
good.
about it. And in this game, Choppleberry eating up the close combat from Hitmonlee. So just great item brings, even if he is still
Yep.
using the same sets.
It was very strong. I mean the Machoke was beefy as well. Um,
Oh yeah.
and then just the Mimikyu Glacier. It's just I keep thinking every time I watch the Tokyo Terrace games, if there's Dynamax, I mean it's such a good combo. Glacier and Mimikyu, it's so good. And his team would be really good if his Dynamax, but without Dynamax, the Glacier is just it has been a severely less threatening. Um,
Agreed.
and
Yeah.
I it needs to be in Trick Room, or it doesn't have the bulk to live 2 hits sometimes. Like you can't run things like weakness policy on it, well, as easily or as effectively. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the thing is, yeah, I mean, Lucian ran Steel Beam Klefki. I mean, you
that
wouldn't
was
do that in
nice.
Dynamax format because that wouldn't
No,
that would never take down a Dynamax Glacier. But here, I mean, he can double up on it reliably with Steel Beam and take it out. But it was, I mean, that was great play by Lucian too. Like there was that turn he bullet punched the Mimikyu
hmm
so that then the last resort could pick it up after it broke the disguise. I thought that was phenomenal.
yeah, I wonder if that was like the reason he brought Bullet Punch like overall.
Right, because you can't bring Mach Punch, which I don't even know if it gets Mach Punch, but you can't bring Vacuum Wave or any other fighting. So I thought the
Yeah,
Bullet Punch was a great bring. Um, because otherwise, if he doesn't do that combo, like if he last resorts it to break this guy's, there's no way, you know, Macho can pick up the kill. So
yeah,
then Terrors get Trick Room up and it gets dicey from there. So, um, I don't know. I mean,
just
the
really. I mean, the Rebellion just had pressure the whole time. It was mainly the King.
yes.
Honestly, the King's Con was just ferocious,
Yeah.
and
Well, especially because the Terrors didn't bring a rock or a steel type. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
if Kangaskhan's free to just throw off last resorts with no switch-ins, whew.
all of a sudden it becomes not so much a support anymore. It becomes this freaking like legendary Pokemon.
Right. Which
But
I mean, it's understandable, I guess, why they didn't bring any rock or steel because they might have thought like, oh, I'll just be able to KO it with Hitmonlee close combat. But then
mm-hmm.
the Choppleberry might have thrown off their game plan, and they just weren't able to adjust, I guess.
True.
Um, I will say I was a fan of the normal gem Hitmonlee. Like in general, I think that's a cool combo because you get the Unburden right. In that matchup, I thought it was really risky though, and a little bit um, not the best bring, I guess, because like for example, game one, I think Lucian faked out the Diggersby, but if he faked out the Hitmonlee, and Hitmonlee doesn't get its fake out off, you don't get the normal gem off, and so then you don't have Unburden, so you're still slower than Kangaskhan. And we saw that happen game two. And then he had to bring in the Hitmonlee um, under Trick Room and fake out, and then the Unburden made him faster, so it actually kind of hurt him. Um, I mean, I still think it's a cool combo, but maybe just not for that game. I don't know.
I think it's a really cool
Um,
combo. Honestly, I had never even thought of using that on Hitmonlee. And I thought it was super
yeah,
cool, but yeah, it just didn't work
I
out.
think. Well, and I think the other weird thing was I don't know if you saw the Avalanche Glacier. I thought that was a weird bring. I don't like. I know that when I've used Avalanche on the Avalugg before, and when I used it, I did not realize it was -4 priority.
Yeah, it's but I mean then again it is like what 120 power or 130 power after.
It is 120 power, but only if you get hit. And so
Yeah,
I think Icicle Crash or Icicle Spear might just be more consistent. Because Icicle
probably
Spear,
more.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you get 5 hits, that's 125 power. So,
Well, he could have. I mean, I don't know his moveset. He could have had both because it'd be sort of
true.
weird setting Trick Room for a Glacier that has its only ice move being minus priority. Like that wouldn't. You
Right.
know what I mean?
No, I think
So
yeah, it is cool if you're outside of Trick Room because if you're going to move last anyways, then Avalanche is nice. But the fact that he set up Trick Room and then went for Avalanche, I thought was weird, especially in that game too. But
yeah, I mean maybe it was just only out to just get a beefy Avalanche off. I don't know.
120 power, yeah.
I think he was kind of locked at that point though. Um,
Right.
all right, moving on. The Irish Incineroars we owe an apology because we put them as having a loss last week, or being 0-3 last week at least, and they were not 0-3. They had a win. They were 1-2, and now they moved to
Yeah.
2-2. And they move up quite a bit on the rankings. You'll be able to see on the next slide, but I didn't actually see this game. But they took the 2-1 over the St. Lucius Lux Rays. Did you watch this, or was it posted?
I did. It was a really interesting set actually. Went to game three. Um, Basically, it was an interesting dynamic between so Luxrays. They made some transactions and they used some of those Pokemon they picked up now. So they have the Pinchurchin and they have the Gyarados now. And I actually totally forgot that Pinchurchin gets Lightning Rod. Um,
Oh, I did
so
too.
they were using yeah, so they were using Lightning Rod Pinchurchin, which was nice because the Incineroars brought Magneton. So you have this weird dynamic where you have um, Scarf Rotom, Heat from the Luxrays, who is able to pick up the Magneton. But then the Scarf Dracovish is able to pick up the Rotom if it stays in. However, the Gyarados has Intimidate. It is a nice counter to the Dracovish. Especially, it was banded and it had Scale Shot. But then the Magneton is a counter for the Gyarados, but then you've got the Pinchurchin in the back to absorb the you know electric attacks. So it was a really nice dynamic of and matchup, and so because of that, it really mattered about the positioning. There was a couple paras game three, but because the Sigilyph was just spreading Thunderwave. But the Luxrays could have got around that if they had just swapped in the Pinchurchin just to absorb these Thunderwaves because it had already been revealed that it had Thunderwave, and Pinchurchin could have just absorbed those and then uh, offered some pressure against that Sigalith. So I think if the Luxrays made a few reads and switches, they definitely could have made their life a little bit easier. But getting two full pairs game three definitely hurt them. And it looked like they kept wanting to switch their move on Gyarados when it was out, because they would lock into Scale Shot, and then something like Magneton would come out, and it was like, great, I want a Scale Shot Magneton, but they were banded, so they were locked in. So um, interesting bring, very interesting set. But ultimately, the Incineroars were able to. I thought they played well. I thought both teams played well, and they were able to pull out the win. So good for them.
Yeah, congrats to the Irish Incineroars, and again, we do apologize for the last week's PR. But we got it corrected this week. So you're 2-2. I hope you're 2-2.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, the
Yeah,
Irish
I think
Incineroars are 4-0, and we didn't know. No.
hey, if they post their games, we'll check it.
So but congrats on the win, and our next match was the two youngins, the two feisty youngins. The rolled gold pretzels beat the Aussie Arcanines.
This was the seniors' worlds.
This is Seniors Worlds. I think Vikax still hasn't got a win yet. But the thing is, he's not really getting creamed. And I know Vikax is a good player, so I personally am a little surprised to see him. I didn't watch this match, but
oh, you didn't watch this match?
Oh no! I didn't watch this match, but the previous matches. I mean, he's had a hard schedule. He's gotten. So I take it this one as a creaming, but the pretzels salted him.
The pretzels
Or did they
definitely
cheese
salted
on
him.
him? Did they cheese on him?
They put some rock salt on him with the Aggron.
Ooh, they brought the mustard.
Oh yeah, they definitely put some rock salt on them, and so the pretzels brought Heavy Slam Aggron, and game one Vikac basically led. He led his like Trick Room mode, Hatterene and Togepi, which both fairy, both light. I think Hatterene's light at least, but Togepi's definitely light,
Oh,
and
gosh.
so Aggron able to just one shot whatever it wants. So that was tough. And then Gumi also brought Fake Out Blastoise, which was really nice. And again, I think he brought Scarf Cinderace. Did he bring Scarf Cinderace? I think he did. But yes, he did because it outspeed the Alecki. And so Vikac had like Specs Alecki, but Scarf Cinderace Flare Blitz was able to just one shot it. So like he couldn't get any offensive momentum. And the other problem was he had a banded. So yeah, he had banded or maybe Scarf. I think it was Scarf Aerodactyl maybe to outspeed Scarf Cinderace, but and then he had Specs Alecki, but that means he's not running Protect, and so it was just too hard for him to play defensive around Gumi, especially when Gumi would bring out that Blastoise for fake out pressure. So like I think Vikac definitely has some good offensive threats, but he didn't have enough good like support for him especially because when Gumi had that Aggron out and Vikac didn't really bring anything to deal with the Aggron. So yeah, Aggron was just putting on a ton of pressure, and that you can redirect it with Togepi, but you can only do that once, and then Heavy Slam is just going to one shot it. So it was a pretty dominant performance by Gumi, I will say. Which I mean, it's no surprise. Gumi's a really good player, but yeah, that's it was a good stuff, and maybe the Arcanines will figure out how to play a little bit more defensive or position better. I think because um, yeah, that was just a good showing by Gumi.
Well, yeah, Gumi takes another win. Vikac takes another loss, but I know he's hungry. He won't let his team voltage roots let him down. Next game, I didn't see, but I know the Brisbane Blazikins are quite the team. But Rabambi, or Stingray Rabambi, has been having a great season. and they pick up the
Phenomenal.
2-0. Yeah. I didn't watch this game either. Um, but I was really interested to see it.
Oh, this was a solid game. Um, so the let's see. So basically the Rabombis, I think they might have led the same thing both times. I think it was this the Amoongus um, and the Slow King Galar, and they were able to get the Trick Room up, and that Trick Room mode is just proven to be very solid for the Rabombis. One thing about it too, which I think is really cool, is Slow King and Ramungus both get Regenerator, so swapping them out and just getting that regen, double regen is super nice, especially because they don't have like really a shared weakness, um, because Amoongus is not weak to ground because of its grass typing, and the Slow King is not weak to uh, psychic because of its psychic typing. So I think it's actually a really cool dynamic. I think for the Rabombis, and they both have regenerators, so that's really nice. Um, I think the other thing that's cool is I think they brought their tier five, the Skunk Tank, more than anybody else has brought their tier
Oh,
fives.
Skunk Tank's
I mean this
beast.
Skunk Tank's put in work. Yeah, it's good. I mean, especially on their team specifically, but it's I think it's definitely solid as a tier five in general. Um, but basically, I'm trying to think what happened exactly, but I mean, they set up Trick Room, and I think they were able to get a few spores off with the Mungus, which was really nice. And then it came down to an end game with Kling Klang, either game one or game two, and the Kling Klang might have been able to clutch it out. Um, but it got crit by a psychic with the Rabombis while light screen was up on the Blaziken side. So crit through a light screen, um, doing big damage, and that kind of sealed it. One of those games. I forget if it was game one or game two, but either way, I think the Rabombis still had a chance to win that. But yeah, the crit definitely sealed it. But yeah, once they got the trick room up, Brian Dragalge able to just get a lot of offensive pressure. Um, I did think it was odd picking up the Dragalge, which was a recent pickup. They dropped Toxapex since they already had Naganadal. But I mean, Dragalge is just super super good offensively, and I guess it just gives them one more offensive trick room option because they may realize that leaning into this trick room mode may be the best move for this mono poison team. I don't know.
It's seeming to work, and yeah, I know he said last week that if he would have brought Trick Room, he would have had a way better chance. Or I think it was last week. His only loss. I know he said if he would have went Trick Room mode, he would have been way better off. Um, but Rabom, I mean, the Mono Poison working out. They're 3-1. So our next game, I think I actually predicted the Kildare Crocodiles to win this game. I was impressed with their win last week, and I thought they were going to get hot. But the Bristol Bewares, they were looking hot this week. They they were just hard to get through. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but I know they had the Latias, or
And the live part.
The Latios and the Lipard, and
Yeah.
I was really excited to see Encore coming into Planet Prankster because I think it's such a really really cool move, and it can be really useful. It's just it is somewhat situational, and it's just almost it's never used because of Dynamax basically, and so much stronger in Series 10. And I was glad to see it get used, especially Game 2. And I think Gert pointed this out. Going for that fake out in front of that Lipard that has Encore. I mean, if you try to do another move, it's just gonna encore you, and you're stuck doing failing fake out. So super nice bring by the Bewares, and the Latios was able to put in work. I think it was interesting when he encored the Doug Trio. I
The
guess
sucker
it
punch.
didn't like reset the priority. It was like a weird priority interaction where
I was gonna say
Encore is +1. I think Sucker Punch is plus. Is it +1 or +2?
one.
It's plus
No,
one.
no,
So
it's like yeah, but I think
I don't think it
I think
resets it.
since the Doug Trios went for Earthquake, I think it uses the priority of the move it was using.
Yeah, it does.
I'm
So
not
does it.
really.
Yeah, I don't know how that interaction works, but it was like it worked out
I don't know
beautifully for
either.
the Bewares. I mean, the Encore was awesome,
Yeah.
awesome bring and really useful. And then the Latios was able to, or I think they protected their Electivire when they did that. Or who did they protect? I don't know. It
No,
saved something.
when they encored.
So, as I think against the
Yeah, the
Donphan.
Electivire went for a rock slide, I
Oh yeah, and I
believe,
got double
and
KO. Yeah,
yeah, I got a double KO, which I assume the crit probably mattered on the Jinx. It's not stab. I mean, Jinx has bad defense, but I don't know. It is spread and non-stab, so I would assume,
yeah.
and so I assume it wouldn't have killed the Jinx, but I don't know how much that mattered. The uh, yeah, I mean, like you said, the Bewares looked really good this week.
They did. I mean, I did like some of the crocodile sets though. I did think the Scarf Jinx was interesting. Like just kind of making your opponent worry about fake out, and then you're just scarfed into something else. I mean, it just can really throw
But did you
people
notice
off.
the did you notice the protect on the Scarf Jinx though?
Yeah, I noticed the protect on the Scarf Jinx, and then I think there was also protect on the Assault with Zapdos.
Yeah, yeah, which I'll say, not a fan of that. I mean, obviously it could have been prep errors or whatnot, but um, still, I mean,
I mean, it's one thing.
that's
Like
you brought it to the game, so
if you have trick, with a scarf mod, I guess you can, and you're really planning on using it, then you can run protect or something. But yeah, I mean, as far as I know, I mean, it could have been just like he didn't think another move was useful, or he may have been predicting a trick from the opponent. But I think that's kind of a risky read right there. If that's what they're going for. But so the Beavers
well,
pick up the first win though.
yes, they do.
And what were we gonna say?
And well, I was gonna say the other thing was I thought it was interesting. I mean, I know Gumi pointed out the fact that he thought physical Ludicolo wasn't super good. Um, and just in general, like, but I think it could have been potentially with the knockoff against Latios, but however, it didn't like it's not like it one shots Latios. And then the other odd thing is, I guess, um, because Ludicolo has 20 less base physical stats than special, and they had physical with Waterfall, which the Bewares have Gastron. So, I would have thought they would have wanted to bring special with like Muddy Water or something so that they could avoid the Follow Me. Or not the Follow Me, the Storm Drain. But, so yeah, I did think the physical, I guess, was a little odd with that lower base stat and the Waterfall just being able to potentially be fully redirected by the Gastron.
So, congrats to Bewares picking up a win. Um, this next match I just watched, and this was auto doing auto things. If you want to throw your opponent off and you want to really, really, just you know prep something that can come out of nowhere and take a game, that's weakness policy in DD for you. Um, that was a super. When I saw that in team preview, I was like, "What is auto going for?" But it worked out perfectly. He got it procced from the game two from the Lucario Dark Pulse, and DD was just doing so much damage. That's weakness policy is not something you expect on an DD, and it's also not something that's as nearly as useful without Dynamax. So I would be surprised if I heard that Toots actually expected that. There's no way. No one expected that. So that was an amazing bring, and it actually worked out. Slowbros just had a lot of power. I forget exactly what happened game one. Um, Man, I
The
just watched
Sap,
this game.
so game one, the fake out came out
The
onto the Flygon. And
Oh, they went. Oh yeah, Moxie Salamence was amazing in this matchup. Yeah, so they went for the fake out, and they went for the Dragon Claw, got an immediate KO and a Moxie boost. They were looking amazing. Um, and I did like the Life Orb Suicune by Suicune, but yeah, it was just the auto just had a lot of power, and it's just hard to like something like Weakness Policy, Expanding Force, and DD, and something like Moxie Salamence with a good amount of speed control. It's a lot of power, and you need power if you're gonna get through Toots' team.
yeah. I mean, one thing that was interesting was like I know in Toots' prep video, I think he said that Umbreon, he didn't think Umbreon or Cresselia really looked too good into Otto's team, so he didn't bring them. But even if they don't necessarily look good offensively, um, like those are two good resists to Expanding Force. And so without that, like Expanding Force looked real nice in the Toots' team. Um, and I mean, yeah, it is rough not knowing about the weakness policy until game two, because then like not getting that information. Um, I mean, that's where some of these games, like if you just can get as much information as you can out of game one, even if you lose, you can bring it back for games two and three. But if you don't get a ton of information game one, it can make those game twos really tough to come back. And I think
Agreed.
that's a situation where we saw it. Um, I think. I think the other I don't know if Toots forgot about the NDD fake out strategy if he didn't see it yet, but like I know my guy used that against me in my game when I had the Scyther. Although I protected the Scyther, he still brought Psychic Drain with fake out, and I think we've talked about that a little bit, but that's a really sneaky strategy for NDD for those Levitator flying type mons. Um, and I know like I know Toots set up Tailwind at one point, but now Toots has a really nice defensive team, but I feel like he doesn't need necessarily. I mean, he's got a great team, but like if he's setting up Tailwind, I feel like when you want Tailwind up, you want to just like you have you know basically 3.5 more turns to like just blow through their team and utilize that Tailwind, and um, I feel like he doesn't have a mon like that, like like Choice Band Darmanitan or something. Just something to absolutely wreck your opponents, but you just need a little bit more speed control, because bulky mons with Tailwind don't help a ton. I guess you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't take advantage of it as much. Um,
Right.
but so Toots joins me in the one loss club, and Otto remains in the undefeated club. So, but really good. I mean, overall good match. Both great teams. Our last match, I also just watched this one. The Sussex Sableyes, they couldn't squeak out the win. They lost 1-2 to the Norwegian Dormanitans. This was a really good match. If you didn't watch it, I recommend. The It was really interesting because the tricky mons on the side of the Sableyes was the Braviary and the Tapu Fini. Those were sort of the annoying threats, especially for the Urshifu. And the Darmanitans probably knew this, and their Assault Vest Raikou looked really, really good into both those mons, but they had to play around that Togedemaru, and I thought Game 2 was really, really well played and positioned by the Sableyes, and then that's kind of how they took advantage of that. They you know, that Raikou was just wanting to click Thunderbolt. He's just like, let me Thunderbolt, but he just Sableyes didn't really give him a chance to rip on the Fini or the Braviary. I thought the Scarf Tailwind was really cool. The Scarf Braviary setting in general was really nice. But Darmanitans, they just have that strong team. They looked. What they do? Game 3, they looked really good. I think they went for a fake out. What they go for?
On the
Um,
Braviary and the Meteor Beam.
yeah, the
Meteor
fake on the
Beam.
Meteor. It's the second week we've seen, maybe even more. I can't remember that we've seen this Meteor Beam Starmie just blast him on and threatening him on and get it out of the way. Um, and that put them in really good position early in the game. Um, I thought that was really nice. I love to see Starmie do good. Starmie's so cool. But just prepping for the Urshifu and the Tapu Lele too. I think Urshifu was Choice Band, the Tapu Lele was Scarf. Those put on so much offensive pressure. It's really hard to deal with those. But I like the Tailwind brang against that because that is how you contest that or deal with that in a way.
Yeah, this was a really good set and really interesting. I had a lot of notes about this. Um, I will say that one like really key and potentially fatal factor for the Sableyes was, I mean, they had that Scarf Braviary, right? But it wasn't Defiant, and I think its other abilities are like Keen Eye and Sheer Force or something like that. But I don't think we saw any Sheer Force moves from it. I think we saw Tailwind, Close Combat, U-Turn, I assume it maybe a Brave Bird or something like that. But like, Scarf. So if you're in Scarf and you don't have any Sheer Force moves, you might as well not run Sheer Force. You might as well go Defiant. And I think the Defiant like would have made it a little more awkward for that Suicune because then, or sorry, not Suicune, Raikou, because then that Raikou would like, it wouldn't necessarily want a Thunderbolt because of the Togedemaru, but it wouldn't necessarily want a Snarl to potentially proc a Scarf Braviary
Yeah.
and give that +2 Defiant. So like, and the other thing was that it kind of allowed that um, Tauros to just freely Icy Wind because it knew that it wasn't proccing Defiant on the
Yeah.
Braviary. So I think not bringing Defiant was interesting. And then the Wheezing. I think Wheezing is also really cool against Urshifu teams because then you can protect in front of Urshifu.
Right.
Um, but what was odd was there was a situation where I think the Lele was out with Psychic Terrain and Psychicked the Wheezing, and we saw the Payapa Berry come out, the Psychic Resist, but it's still Oko the Wheezing. So I don't know if the Sableyes didn't calc for that. One thing I was thinking about is since it was neutralizing gas, maybe they were calcing for non-psychic terrain, psychic
I thought he had a little
from
chip
the
on. Did he not have a tiny chip on him? I feel like it.
there. I mean, there was twice I think it died to psychic, and one of them it had chip. The other one I don't
Okay.
think it did, but it might have. But I mean, I looked at the calc though, and you'd have to go even if you were max HP. I think in psychic terrain you die. You'd have to have special defense investment. Um, but I don't know. I mean, but also with neutralizing gas, maybe it was calc without terrain. I think that's pretty. That would be a fair guess as well. Um, and yeah, I think there was a couple times the Sableyes maybe had a little bit of momentum and could have kind of made a hard read and gone for something to capitalize on it. Like I think there was one game. Actually, it might have been game two when they won somehow. But they set up Tailwind, and I think they got one attack off during Tailwind. Like they switched out, they protected, they like switched out again, and then maybe they like attacked. And I think they actually got one attack off during Tailwind, which was so funny. So, um, yeah, I mean, again, that AV Raikou is super annoying because even if it isn't Thunderbolting, Snarling is lowering that special attack. But I will say that the Sableye made a nice play at the end of game two, going for that double protect, which saved him and gave him the win with that Togedemaru so that it was still able to protect that Finny. Um, but game three, I think um, the protect from Wheezing was a little interesting. I don't know if it was like super threatened because obviously it has Payapa Berry and um, Starmie isn't as strong as Lele, and so Starmie, it's not like you're going to live in a psychic attack from Starmie. So I thought it was interesting that they protected turn one, game three, because then after the meteor beam from Starmie, then it put them in an awkward position where they couldn't protect, and Starmie's at +1 now, and so I think they swapped out to Rotom, and then Rotom had to take a +1 expand,
Yeah.
uh, +1 expand force. Yeah, so that was really tough. And then, yeah, I thought it was odd that they didn't bring Finny that last game, which is kind of their main Urshifu counter.
Yeah, I was just trying to throw him off and maybe to predict that they wouldn't even bring Urshifu because it was
That's true.
because they had to
That's
deal with
true.
that Braviary. But really, really good set overall. I really like the sets brought by the Sableyes and the Darmanitans there, and I think it just came down to just a slightly just better. I don't know, because the Sableyes did look really good game too when they were able to position how they wanted to. So it just I don't know. The Darmanitans just squeaked it out. It got the 2-1.
Yeah.
Looked really good game three and game one. So I guess we move on to our top, the list of 24. I keep
The
looking at
top
it. The
24.
top 24. You've all
Well,
played the top 24 in the VDL. But
hey, they're at least ahead of Gert and Matrix and Ted.
that's true. They are. They're not in the top 24 yet. So
No, they're not.
but they're all top commentators. Um, so let's move on. We're gonna try to go through these a little quickly here. Number 24, Vic.
Only winless team.
Only winless team, not for long. Vicac.
Yeah. I think this might be the season where we have no winless teams. I don't think that's happened before.
I feel like it has.
It
Yeah,
might have.
We've had winless teams. Or no, wait. No, yeah, I don't know if
Right.
there's been a winless team every season. So yeah, I get
Right.
confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah, that'd be nice. And I mean, I'm not surprised. I think this is probably the most competitive and close season that there's been
Right.
since I've been in the league, at least. But the Arcanines, number 24, but still, they can still fight back. I believe, they can still fight for playoffs. And, if they get on a hot streak here, maybe that loss against Gumi will turn things around. I know Vicac is definitely not a bad player. So, but right now sitting number 24 as you don't have a win yet. Number 23, Dilfu picks up their first win. Still didn't look super good. Like, they didn't really look that bad against when I played them. But they did look not so great last week. This week, though, they, did it great. They had answers for things, and they pick up a win. So, moving up one spot to 23. Same thing, Bristol Bewares, number 22. They pick up their first win, looking great. Maybe they can get hot here. Let's see. At Chelsea Park Slowpokes, still trying to make the Gigas wheezing or coughing work, like you said, but it hasn't worked for them yet. But they're 1-3, and they're not out of it. Number 20, Tokyo Terrors. I'll say it again. I love their logo. It's freaking awesome. And I can't stop thinking about ramen ever since we had that conversation. The Discord chat. I think I'm gonna get some tomorrow, actually. But yeah, they're 1-3. Their team hasn't been they just haven't looked super threatening. They have a lot of cool tech that they can utilize on their team. It just hasn't worked out in the recent weeks. So number 19, Crushing Sylvais. I think they had a big win last week. But yeah, they end up losing to Dilfu, I believe, right? And then
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, 18. 18. The Kildare Crocodiles. They've got that rain mode with the Ludicolo, but they're still only able to get one win from it. I think they've been really close to clutching out some of these games. I think they definitely could be 3-1 at this point. If they had a little bit better, either prep or play, I think they're really close to some of these games. Brisbane Blaziken, same thing. They messed up their prep one week. Didn't bring Sheerforce Landorus. They've had some unfortunate crits here and there, and so I think they're still playing well, still threatening, but yeah, still only's got one win, sadly. Lux Rays again, only one win, I believe, but they've had some intense games as well. Solid team, and yeah, we'll continue to see what the Lux Rays bring. No curse counter though. I miss that. And then I think the Sableyes. I feel like they have like some of the closest games every week. Like every week is just so intense for the Sableyes. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but they've always go to these game threes, and I think if they can start picking up 2 out of 3 of these, then they'll be looking good. But they're at least able to make them close games, which I think is really important. The Ambors, like I said, I think they're still super threatening, even though they're 1-3. They have a great team. I think they played well, and yeah, I wouldn't, even though they're 1-3, I would not discount the Ambors. So and then Womble, I haven't gotten to see much. He's 1-2. Got a forfeit win last week, and this week his game's delayed. So still haven't seen too much from him, but I still like his team. So still confident that Womble would pull it back this season.
And number 12, we got the Irish Incineroars hiking up a good amount. They're no longer a bottom shelf team as we misplaced them last power rankings. They're 2-2, looking good, and they're trying to move up. Trying to move up big time. So congrats to them. Again, we do apologize for our goof up, but looking good, 2-2. The Grimsnarls, Um, so they wait.
They're 2-1.
Okay, they're 2-1. They haven't played yet. Okay, gotcha. So still, I mean, they looked good last week. We can't really speak much about them this week because we don't have any battle from them. So, but yeah, still looking good. We still think they're a really really good team, and they seem like they prep well and play well. So they're sitting at number 11. Number 10, the Mono Poison Master, Batista. He's having a good season. Having a very good season. Doesn't have the kill leader, but I think he'd rather have a good record than be the kill leader. I think he'd rather have this 3-1, and it's pretty dominant 3-1 to be honest. I mean, he's had a good prep, and I think all, if not most of his winning matches have been 2-0. So he's looking good. Batista's sitting at number 10. Number 9, the Waterloo Warriors. They took the win over me this week. So they're moving up. I believe they're 2-1 because they had they're 2-2, but they had to FF1, and then they lost to the Bashers week 1. So they're still a really threatening team. I was terrified to play him, and I know my guy's a good player. So yeah, they're sitting at number 9. And it's something I wanted to mention. It was funny. So from our match from game 1. So I got, I wanted my Milotic to take on the Urshifu 1v1. I got in the position 2, and then so I finally got in that position, and I had a coil. I was looking really good, and so my guy, he messaged me and he goes, GG, because he thought it was over, and I was literally typing back to him a message saying, "Don't forfeit. You could still win with a crit." And as I was about to finish typing that message and send it, he crits me and wins. So it was it's super unfortunate for me, but it's kind of epic, and crazy. But yeah, they're sitting at number 9. Suffolk Suicune, Toots' team. They lost to Otto this week, but Otto's a big time top team, as we know. So yeah, they join. They're no longer in the 4-0 squad or club or whatever. But yeah, they're still a nice hot team, and sitting at number 8. Right above them is the Bolton Bashers, Goomer 22's team. They got another win this week. The Credilli is super annoying and super useful. I'm glad to see Stunfisk be useful this week. We just know that Goomer can prep and play super well. He was the champion last season and the runner-up the season before. He been playing well. It deserved to be number 7.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully I can show the league that it is deserved in these next coming weeks, which will be really tough. All right, moving into the top row teams. At number 6, Massachusetts Manitans. Like I said before, I think this is probably their best draft team that I've seen from them. I just love all of the synergy and the threats, and they're playing it, I think, uniquely and creatively, and they're picking up wins. So how can you argue with that? And I actually think they just posted their match against you, so it'll be interesting to see their side from that. And then speaking of you, number 5, we've got the Tyrantor Sauces taking an epic loss against the Warriors. Such an intense game. I still think you have a really great team. 3-1. I think you've looked really strong. And I think that's why you're up there compared to some of the 3-1 teams down here. Like me, I don't think my games have looked as strong. Like I think yours have looked really strong, and yeah, just a super super nice team. I really like the squad you drafted there. So next, moving up to our top 3-1 team, the Norwegian Darmantans barely lost to Gumi last week, and this week they come back. They squeak out another 2-1 win against the Sableyes, and yeah, we know Kolopsi is a great player. He's doing well with the scary Urshifu Lele team, and he's using he's not just necessarily going just with that obvious Psychic Terrain Urshifu mode. He's mixing it up. He's going with Power Herb Starmie. He's got the Slurpuff. So I like the way he's playing his team and this season. And number 3, we've got Rebellion. My nemesis of the season, my only loss. Smoked my boots real bad, and yeah, he has just been I don't really know how to explain it. I feel like he's just been on like this plot armor hot streak. It seems like you can't do anything to him. He's got your number, and he gets the crit against Wamba when he needs it. He hits his moves. He the thing about Lucian is he goes bigger, he goes home, and this season he's just been going big. He is not going home. He is bringing it, and you better watch out because he has a seriously threatening team, and he's playing it well. So I would watch out for him. And yeah, well deserved to be in that top three. Number two, we've got Otto. Um, and I think you could almost make a case for number one for Otto as well. I think he's just been playing super well this season. I think Ndidi female is such a good mon, so much utility, and just can enable so many partners. So uh, and he's using it well too. He's not just running standard sets on it. So that's really cool. But yeah, we know Otto's a great player. He's been playing pretty dominantly this season, so no reason to think otherwise. Um, but also no reason to kind of put him ahead of Gumi. I mean, I guess he hasn't dropped a game, but then again, Gumi did have to face that number four team Colopsio while he was number one and picked up the 2-1 win. So um, we've got Gumi and the rolled gold pretzels at number one still. Still able to prove that number one spot by getting the 2-0 over Vikak. But yeah, I think Gumi's got tons of threats, and I really haven't seen like any bad play from him. I feel like he's played really well, and he brings nice techs. He like so he's got nice prep, and it seems like he flows with his team really well. And so who knows? This could be Gumi's season. Um, but yeah, we've got him up there at number one. No reason to change that up. Um, if some of these other people like Lucian or Otto play really, really well, I don't know. We might have to squeak him ahead of Gumi. But yeah, as of now, we've only got those three undefeated teams at the top. So who will fall first? That's the question. And that's our top 24.
So let's move on to our final segment. We actually have a segment or a slide after this.
Bonus.
A bonus,
Bonus segment.
which we thought would have a little more fun. So we've got all the teams up here. We got all the divisions. If you want to take a look at that, kind of review them, see who's at the top, see who's fighting for playoffs. And then
Let's yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to talk about the bottom half or the top half first?
No, you go for it. Or no, I mean, there's not much to talk about at the top. I mean, we could talk about divisional standings, but I feel like people kind of know where they stand.
They know where they stand, but I think what's interesting, if you just look at the divisional standings right here, is um, on the bottom half of we've got one and something teams. Besides the
Yeah.
Arcanines, every team on the bottom half is 1 and 3, and so kind of what I wanted to say about this is you like these 1 and 3 teams. There's a ton of them, and this week 5 is absolutely crucial. You know, getting that win. I remember last season, Gert was 1 and 4. Thought he was out of it, and um, still somehow able to make playoffs at 4 and 4. Clutched it out. Maybe the only 4 and 4 team to make playoffs, at least as a wild card.
He squeezed
Um,
in.
Yes, by differential points too. The differential mattered. He had to beat out those other 4 and 4 teams, and I could definitely see a 4 and 4 team making it this season. But there are some really big matchups this week, especially when you have like a 1 and 3 facing a 3 and 1. Getting that 2 and 3 versus 3 and 2, like just bringing it that much closer is so important. But you know, I'm not gonna say it can't be done because Gert showed it could be done at 1 and 4, but it's really hard to make playoffs as 1 and 4. So it this is a huge um, this is a huge week for these 1 and 3 teams, and I just feel like this is such an intense season, and I would I would be a little surprised to see anyone come out of here undefeated because I just think definitely could happen. These top teams, these undefeated teams, are looking really strong. But I feel like, and even if they do go undefeated, I think the rest of the teams here, like, it's gonna be a close race. I can feel it being a bloody wild card race in week 8. I can see it now. It's yeah,
I totally
it's
agree.
so just something to think about and really, really focus on your prep and play this week. I think because it could be winning in here. And but again, Gert made it at 1-4, and so he made it at 4-4. So nobody's out of this. Even the Arcanines. The Arcanines hop on a win streak here. They could make it. So um, yeah, it all just comes down to this. We're halfway through the season. I've been loving it. This has been an awesome season so far. I just enjoy playing without Dynamax. Um, Dynamax is fun and all, but I really enjoy the different opportunities and Pokemon that it opens up when you don't have Dynamax.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it this much, but I definitely like the Series 10 no restricted. I really like this format. It's really fun. So
Yep.
the bottom half segment we have is our future site contenders. So this is, I believe, this is who is kind of nailing the predictions.
Yeah. The predictors of, and we've got this updated through week 4, besides Womble's game, which hasn't been played. So out of 47 matches, um, Matrix at the top of the leaderboard. Not even playing this season, but able to kind of pinpoint these matchups. I guess he's just been on top of it more than 3/4 of the games, able to get right out of the 47 that's been played. Um, and right behind him are both Goomy and Mr. White Rabbit. I know not everybody predicts on all the games. So if you want to be up here, if you want that chance, you better start, you know, casting your vote for each game, even your own. It can always help. You could go with the Womble strategy. Vote for the opposing person. That way, if you lose, you still get the prediction right. Um,
The
Not a
safe
bad
bet. The
idea.
safe
And
bet.
right, and he's in the hunt. Look at him, number 7 there. So,
True.
yeah. These guys are they're hot on the predictions now. But anything can change. We're only halfway through the season, and again, look at that number 4, Gert, also not playing this season, but he's able to nail down the predictions. Maybe Gert and Matrix are just taking this as a research season, and next week they're just gonna come
The
out.
Professor Gert and
Yeah,
Professor Matrix. Matrix,
yeah, they're
Matrix,
they're gonna come out firing next season.
Matrix. Vote for sauces. Give me your future site. Vote for sauces, please.
Oh, I can't blame him for voting against me because he got that rebellion vote right. So that's fair. But um, yeah, we'll see who can come out on top as our future site contender.
Well, that is. I think that's it. We don't have any more bonus slides. That's it for this week. So, hope you enjoyed it. Hope everybody has some good luck and some good matches for week 5. That's it. Anything else to say, Goomer?
No, I'm really excited for this week. This is week 5 is one of my one of my favorite weeks of the season. So
Cool. Well, all right. That's it then. Best of luck to everybody.